Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is not a What Sold Saturday. I'm sorry that I don't have a What Sold Saturday this week. When you're watching this, I am currently in Chicago. My brother is a huge fan of Pokemon Go, the app for Pokemon that was very popular like 2 years ago. There's still a lot of people that actually play it a lot, and he's one of them. And so we got tickets to the Pokemon Go Fest, and so that's where I'm at right now when you're watching this. So I don't know what I've sold this week because I'm filming this on Wednesday. So I am instead going to do tips for the bins so that I can at least give you some video. And someone requested this, so I am going to do it. So, oh, also, you're not missing out on much because I haven't had any sales for the past 3 days. So this was an awful sales week once again. Unless it suddenly picks up in the next couple days, but I doubt it. So let's jump into the bins tips, shall we? So I'll start off with how I attack the bins. So what I do is I pick a whole section of bins, it's separated by 2 rows of bins. I pick a whole section and I go through every single thing in a section. I push everything in the bin to the left side and I pick up every single item and look at every single item and throw it to the right. So it takes me a while, but I get through everything. And I found that that's a good way to find what people have missed and to make sure that you don't miss anything. Because I don't think it's that useful to just walk bin to bin and kind of just look through a couple things. Because then you're just going to see what everyone else has also seen. You're going to miss the stuff that's at the bottom or in the back corners and stuff. And that's probably the good stuff because that's what everyone else hasn't seen. So that's how I do it. But a couple tips for you on what to do with the bins to get better stuff. One, look at the dates and times that are on the little piece of paper at the end of the bin. I don't know if all bins do this, but the Iowa ones definitely do, and I think the Minnesota ones do also. They put a little sticker at the end of the bins row that says the date and the time that it was last switched out. And look at the newer stuff, obviously, because that's the stuff that hasn't been looked through as much. So, yeah. Also, one thing that I find very useful and that has worked really well for me is, so you know how when they bring out new bins, everyone gets around them and then they say go and everyone just goes insane? Go to those bins right after the huge rush of people, because everyone just attacks them for 10 minutes and then it seems like everyone just disappears. And the thing is, these people, they're just going so crazy that they miss a lot of stuff, I've noticed, especially in the hard goods bins and the ones with shoes and stuff. People are just going insane trying to grab anything and they don't really pay attention. And so if you go after, I have found some really good stuff that people overlooked. So that is a good time to check the bins. Another tip would be to use Google like you would in a thrift store. So just because there's so much doesn't mean skip these things that you don't recognize. If you don't recognize a brand, but it seems like it's kind of good, it could be good. I know the bins are supposed to be the trash that the Goodwill skips, but it's not, because some of the stuff, they just take it right from donations, and they just don't have the time or the room, and they just throw them into the bins. So Google things that you don't recognize, for sure. Also, this one sounds really cheesy, but I know this works for some people. I don't go often enough for it to really work for me. But make friends at the bins. If you have people there that are regulars and you're a regular and you become friends with them, they will see things that they know that you would want and they might grab it for you or they might save it for you. And I know that happens for some people. I have, like, one lady there who I think recognizes me, but she doesn't know me that well, so she doesn't grab stuff for me. But I know that works for some people. Another tip that's probably pretty obvious is be aggressive, because people there are crazy sometimes. There is one woman that gets on my nerves because she is horrifyingly aggressive for purses, and it's really obnoxious. And so you have to basically throw it right back at her if you want to get the good stuff. She goes around and snatches every single purse, like, the moment the person says go, and she is, like, rude about it. She will like flop onto the bin, and she will like dart in front of you, and she is just too much for me. And one time there was a Coach, and she like darted at it and like took it from me and literally like laughed. So you gotta be aggressive if you want to beat the people like that towards the good stuff. And the last tip that I have for you is don't be scared of things that might need a little bit of repair. There was one time that this woman had found these super, super nice Coach boots, these big black ones, and she literally, they had some scuffing on the like the tip, the toe part, and on the back of like the heel of the boots, that literally some leather dye could fix. And she gave them to me because she just said she didn't have the time or energy to repair them. It took me like 10 seconds to just put some leather dye on them and then let them dry. So definitely don't just throw things back because they might need like a tad bit of repair. When you think of how little you're paying for it, and then like you'd be paying about 75 cents or $1 for these boots, and then say that you didn't have leather dye, so you had to go buy it. It's like $4 at Walmart. So you've put $5 into these boots that totally would be worth $5 if you saw them at a normal thrift store. So take that into consideration. Just don't throw things back because they need slight repair. It's definitely worth the time to repair things. So yeah, that is what I could come up with for tips for the bins. I'm not like an expert. The bins here are about 50 minutes away from me, so I don't get to them that often. And the ones in Minnesota are about 50 minutes away from my house in Minnesota, so I don't really get to those that often either, but I definitely have experience with the bins. And yeah, hopefully you found those useful. Please like and subscribe and comment bin tips that you have also, because I know that there's probably a lot more useful tips that people could have. So yeah, bye.